Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. And another heavyweight news mashup video today, starting with the postponement of Alexander Povetkin vs Dillian Whyte, the rematch. It is being moved to March the 27th, a delay of 3 weeks, but also it is landing in Gibraltar. So this had been signalled a day or so ago by Eddie Hearn, the promoter of the fight, basically saying there were some rules in terms of getting Whyte back into the UK that could force a postponement and potentially a change of venue, and this has happened. So the press release, see here, Dillian Whyte's eagerly awaited rematch with Alexander Povetkin is heading to Gibraltar on a new date, Saturday, March 27, live on Sky Sports, yada yada yada. The British heavyweight contender was set to face Povetkin on March 6th, but travel restrictions due to COVID-19 pandemic have meant the fight has been pushed back 3 weeks. Brixton's Whyte will be attempting to avenge his shock knockout defeat to Povetkin last summer, with an announcement on a venue to be made in due course. Eddie Hearn is quoted as saying, "In the current environment, we are always having to think on our feet. We did everything to try and make March the 6th happen. But with the new travel restrictions, it was impossible. Now we have something outside of the box, compelling in a unique setting for one of the heavyweight fights of the year. Roll on, rumble on the rock." So see here on screen, this is the new promo poster, Rumble on the Rock, as they are dubbing it. So clearly in the pipeline for a little while, they'd sort of softened us up with a, this is likely to change, through the different media channels, etc. And now we have it. And I guess with the pandemic, it's probably surprising we're not seeing a little bit more of this. But Portugal, where Whyte had been training, was moved on to a list in the United Kingdom, and Whyte would have had to fulfill certain criteria, dates, timings ahead of coming back into the UK, and when he was there, certain things he would need to do. So they've moved it to Gibraltar, where there's not necessarily different rules, but obviously they feel confident that he can go there, and obviously they can have the fight. And I would sort of hazard a guess as well, if this goes well, this could end up being a backup sort of venue in these pandemic times, etc. So I guess we have to see on that front. But Povetkin, Whyte 2, March the 27th in Gibraltar. A fight between Lucas Browne, the WBA former regular belt holder, and Paul Gallen, the former rugby league player, is all but made now. So see here on screen, this is a poster from Lucas Browne, who's shared an Australian boxing post, which says that a clash between heavyweight rivals Paul Gallen and Lucas Browne is close to being finalised after No Limit Boxing agreed to pay promoter Dean Lonergan a fee of $100,000 for Browne to be released from his contract. And Browne had signed a contract with Dean Lonergan. One of those fights was meant to be Justice Hooney, but then recently Justice Hooney has been forced out of action for a little while because of concussion. This fight with Gallen has been long talked about. Browne is one of these guys who has been quite openly, I don't want to say begging, but it's close to that, for a payday. And he's been trying to bait Gallen and get this fight made and seemingly cash in. And obviously if they're paying out $100,000 to get Browne out of his contract, they must feel that there's some money to be made off this fight. And in Australia, the pay-per-views are generally quite pricey, about $50 Australian, which in anyone's language is a decent chunk of change. And Browne himself, he's posted to social media. We'll get to him first, and then Browne posts a lot to social media, about half a dozen to 10 posts a day sometimes. But then we'll get to Paul Gallen, who has made a brief little comment on a fight with Browne. But Browne is now training for the fight.
How's everyone doing? Camp has begun. So this morning I did 12 rounds, 6 rounds each with the two fellas, 3 basically. Went really well. Bruised, not cut, which is great. You know, sometimes you get bruised, but the shit happens. Sitting in the sauna at the moment. It's all about now. It's about fitness to the max. Pad work. A lot of fitness at home, of course. Recovery sessions with the bike and or swimming pool, and weight cutting. So cut down on the food a little bit, make sure it's a little bit cleaner. Things like this, sauna, steam room, cold pool recovery stuff as well. So that's basically where it's at. As far as I'm aware, all the papers now say Gallen's on. I haven't signed anything yet, but it's on. So let him run his mouth because I'm going to bash him very soon. So hope everyone's well. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
And Paul Gallen, you can see here on his Instagram, he says, "I'll shock you all again. Last bloke I fought was literally going to kill me according to all you experts." At Lucas Browne, we on now. Hashtag boxing. And with this fight, yeah, it's interesting because I don't normally cover the gimmicky sort of fights, the rugby league players and former sportsmen sort of fighting each other. And I didn't do anything on the Gallen and Mark Hunt fight, and that is the one that he's referring to, that people thought Hunt was going to kill him. But this one here, I mean, you have Lucas Browne, getting banged out by Dave Allen in 3 rounds. He's a husk of a husk now. He's, 42, 43 years old. He doesn't really have much in the tank, and he's been clearly looking for a big money cash out fight. And then you have Paul Gallen, who actually has looked decent in the ring, but generally it hasn't been against opposition of any real level in terms of a boxing standpoint, at least in the heavyweight division. So this might be actually somewhat competitive. I mean, I don't think Browne's got much left. He's obviously got power, and he's expecting he's going to be able to knock Gallen out. And I'm sure Gallen, after beating the likes of Barry Hall, Mark Hunt, he's probably going to back his ability to get the job done here. So at this stage, I'm not picking a winner, but yeah, there is a few things with this fight that I kind of go, well, maybe Gallen's got this, maybe Browne's still got enough. We'll see. But anyway, moving on to Sonny Conto, who just can't seemingly catch a break right now. So he was injured in 2020, he's returning from injury. He had a fight on the Burchelt and Valdez undercard for Top Rank, but then his opponent pulled out. So see here on screen, it says, please note that Waldo Cortez was forced to withdraw from his bout against the heavyweight prospect Sonny Conto due to medical reasons. So this was literally last minute, so feel sorry for Conto. It's going to be good to see him back in action, and because he's kind of become a little bit of the forgotten man of the Top Rank stable of prospects, because they all had Guido Vianello, Sonny Conto and Jared Anderson all coming up at the same time, and Conto seemingly has lagged behind in at least the profile sense, because Anderson's starting to break through some of his performances and getting a bit more sort of shine, and even Guido Vianello's had much more high-profile fights than Conto has at this stage. But he's still young, so we'll see where he can go, but hopefully back in action soon. And a couple of results from a card in Shelbyville in the United States. Timothy Moten advanced to 7-0 following a stoppage in the second round against Dakota Talbot. And body work was certainly a feature of his win, as was the uppercut. The body work in particular had Talbot not really wanting it towards the end there. Talbot's record falls to 2-21. And certainly now there's got to be a bit of a step up for Timothy Moten. I know they have had some trouble finding him opponents, but yeah, facing journeymen with 2-20 records and 0-5 records, 3-30. Time to step it up. He certainly does have the ability to fight much better competition, so hopefully his management / promoter can actually do a solid for him and get him a good fight. Also on that card, just quickly, there was also heavyweight DeShawn Ross, a 6'1" heavyweight. He got a win in the first round of his fight too. And rounding out this heavyweight news mashup video, Joyce believes that Johnny Fisher is talented and he can go somewhere in the heavyweight division. So on social media, he said he has a huge future ahead of him. He gave me great work in the lead up to the Dubois fight. I have no doubt that he has what it takes to go all the way. And he was saying that ahead of Fisher's win over Matt Gordon, Fisher getting a first round stoppage. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. I'm out.